We went from Negan bashing in brains to Morgan pushing around Carol in episode 2, and this one made me feel pretty unwell. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment, here to review The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 2. This one is called The Well, and I feel like they are scraping the well. There's no water left because after a really good premiere, they had a great opportunity to follow up on it, and what did we get? We didn't even get a poor follow-up. We got no follow-up. We went from Negan, we went from Rick, we went from Alexandria, the Saviors, and then we go straight to the Kingdom with a CGI tiger, with Carol getting pushed around in a wheelchair, Morgan and his fucking stick, and some fake make-believe king.
It's horrific, right? And you know what? I actually think it's unfair on Negan to pinpoint him as the reason why people stopped watching. You see, if you actually cared about Abraham and Glenn, and you know what? See, at the time, I'm not going to pretend that I did massively, right? But I still wanted to see what happened next. You see, if you were greeted with this episode, no wonder he didn't come back.
This would be the equivalent of, like, let's say Too Far Gone, for example, right? Say Too Far Gone ends with the governor just cutting off Hershel's head, and that's the end of the episode, and you're like, oh my god, I need to wait till next week to see what happens, to see if the group avenge Hershel, to see how, Maggie and Beth react. Can they take down the governor? Who else is going to die? And then you tune in the next week and you just get like an hour episode of fucking No Sanctuary with nothing to do with Rick, nothing to do with the group. It's like, How can you fumble? How can you make that mistake? Yeah, look, I get it. You have to introduce new characters. You have to introduce new groups. But the placement of this episode is horrendous. You can't go from Negan bashing in and killing Glenn and Abraham to next week not even having it been mentioned.
No,
and you've got Carol and Morgan in this episode. Don't even have a clue about what happened.
This episode should have been... Well, it should have been a direct follow-up, as you said, but if you want to spend half of it with these guys, and I can almost accept that, but the full episode, just going around the kingdom, hey, my name's Ezekiel, you want to bite of my apple? I mean, what's that do?
Yeah, nah.
You've also got a king who's not a king. A king doesn't bow down.
For me, it was dumb. We did see part of this episode where the kingdom meet up with the Saviors. For me, episode 2... should have been split between Rick's group and the Saviors, and you could have had some of the Saviors meet up with the Kingdom, and then that could have led into the Kingdom being the focus in episode 3. I think you could have done that. But to have the Kingdom be the only focus in episode 2 after just what happened in the premiere, it's just retarded. I can't think of any other shows done like this. And I get it. They're trying to introduce all these communities, all these different groups. There's not enough time to showcase every group every episode. But after what happened in the premiere, to not have some sort of direct follow-up is insane.
Yeah, but you know what, right? Yeah, they introduced all these groups in the comics. To me, it's easier to introduce groups in a book format. Seeing a TV show across 16 episodes, you can't fucking do it. And Robert Kirkman or whatever Windy Liquor at AMC should have been able to register that.
I'm just trying to think of every major death or every shocking moment in The Walking Dead, and they follow up. You get a follow up with the directly for the next episode. I mean, if we go back as early as let's try and think, what are the shocking moments? I get it. There's less characters in the earlier episodes, but. Look at... Alright, Rick doesn't really meet up with his family at the end of an episode, so that's kind of different. But it's like, let's say when Shane kills Rick at the end of episode 12 in season 2, the next episode's the complete aftermath of that. When Rick loses Laurie in episode 4 in season 3, episode 5, you see him losing control. You see the aftermath of that. It's the same. You can go through every other episode. It's like when something big happens, they follow up with the next episode. You get the conclusion. You get the next part. And I just felt like this. I think this is one of the worst things I've ever seen. And you know what? see if this episode was good. At least maybe we could sit here and say, you know what, it was a terrible decision not to follow up on Lucille and Glenn and Abraham getting their heads bashed in. But here, at least they gave us a great episode with this great new group and exciting characters and this and that. We got nothing. It was a boring episode with these new characters that are either uninteresting or just not believable. And to me, yeah, I think this. Yeah, people say that The Walking Dead died after the premiere of season 7, and they might be right, but it's not because of what happened in the premiere of season 7. I think it's because of what happened in episode 2, or what didn't happen in episode 2. So, I mean, we're here to review this, but honestly,
I don't even want to talk about it. It's like Fear. Yo, you went from an episode that we gave like an 8.5, right, whatever, to an episode that I think is among one of the worst in the show, to this point at least. It's just... I never liked the sequel, right? I never liked Jerry. I never liked the Benji kid that fucking Morgan shows his stick to. I mean, the Richard guy's the only guy I thought was half interesting, but then he just lets himself get beat up by the Saviour. I just don't care, man, honestly. It's just fucking crap. How many times are we going to see Carol looking at the wee bedroom window with the wee metal bitch banging together? And then also, why are the Kingdom letting Morgan in all their expeditions? Letting them in all the secrets? Oh, we give them pigs, Morgan, and then Morgan just sitting there. Here, yeah, let's bow down to the Saviours, even though I know fine well that my group's killed about 40 of them. You know what I mean?
It just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would Morgan not be... And I get it. They're going with the one character that doesn't believe in killing, so if this is going to work with any character... I mean, I guess it works with Morgan, but,
yeah, but
why is Morgan not like, hold on, why do you bow down to these guys and give them half everything when my group's already taking care of them?
Yeah, because Morgan doesn't know shit at this point about Negan.
And would this see what's happened here? Would this not get Morgan thinking, hold on, I need to warn Rick that this group that he's messed with has got more numbers
Than we thought.
Yeah, but for some reason that didn't even. Nothing like that even happened.
No, there's none of that. You see Carol, she's like stealing stuff. She ends up leaving, right? I mean, it's hard to even talk about this episode because it's just boring, man. Like, we may as well talk about that Saviour scene. They meet up. Oh, we've got the pigs. They're feeding them walkers for the Saviours.
I think they're trying to make them sick. Hopefully, maybe weaken the Saviours, try and kill the Saviours off. Will it have an effect? Is it their first time trying this? Don't really know. But Morgan's kind of...
If it didn't work the first time, it's not going to work the second time. No, because see, at the end of the day, right, look how many wild animals we've seen the group kill in 7 seasons of this show. You can't confirm or deny if the thing you've killed's anything rotten.
Yeah, plus, I mean, look at the amount...
And each animal's different, by the way.
Look at the amount of animals that get ate worldwide. Look at the kind of things they eat.
No, it's ridiculous, but we see there's logic flawed in this. We see later on in this show that the Saviours actually like dab their weapons in walker blood and try and infect people by when they stab them. But then we've seen in previous seasons where walker blood getting into your blood's irrelevant. So it's like, well, what the fuck? Is the logic just at the window then?
Yeah, I don't really... That is one thing that I think The Walking Dead is kind of flip-flopped on.
You can't flip-flop on that.
Whether that has any,
The only way you can flip-flop in that is if, like, you get, like, a Dr. Jenner in a lab seasons down the line. He's like, well, you know what? I think over the course of, like, a decade, our bodies have, grown antibodies against it or something. I don't know. You can spit it. At least with an explanation, but not this flip-flopping between it, man. It's ridiculous. But Richard, he gets into a fight with some guy here.
I mean, I wouldn't even call it a fight. The guy taunts Richard.
Swings for him.
Richard basically says something back. Guy loses patience, guy loses his temper, swings at Richard. Richard gets him in a headlock to prevent getting punched. The fight is then broke up, and somebody says 3 shots or something like that. And the guy punches Richard a few times. Ezekiel shouts, and finally this leader of this group of the Saviours tells his man to step down, that's it. They then take their stuff. They say, right, this was a pretty good run, but we want everything that's on the list and nothing less next week. And they walk off. They drive off. And then Ezekiel is unhappy with Richard, even though he didn't throw a punch and all he did was defend himself. So, to me, it's retarded. Ezekiel claiming to be a king. What kind of king is bowing down and giving half his shit to another group?
Yo, he's not.
You lose king status. You cannot be a king and be doing what Ezekiel is doing.
Yo, he's not even bowing down to Negan, right? Or Simon here. He is bowing down to a bunch of it's not.
Well, I don't think. See, to be honest, I don't think that really matters because it's still the same group.
No, it is the same.
I don't think it would matter who led this small group. It's still the saviors. My point is, I think that A, you can't be a king if you're doing what Ezekiel is doing, and B, the kingdom looks pretty, in terms of numbers and weaponry, the kingdom looks pretty good, and they've got a motherfucking tiger. Honestly, I'm thinking, like, does Ezekiel never wonder here? What if we didn't bow down? What if we actually stood up to them? Could we take them?
Yeah, but I think a tiger's shite. I mean, is it a cool visual? Absolutely, but we're not in a country with no guns. A tiger's only going to get you so far. I mean, I'm pretty sure Shiva... I'm pretty sure the tiger sadly dies, right? And I think when an animal dies in the show, if it's done right, it can be impactful, but if Ezekiel's sending his tiger out on missions to kill guys with guns and it eventually dies, I'm just going to be sitting there thinking, well, that's on fucking you, Ezekiel. You know what I mean?
Also, I'm finding it hard to believe that Ezekiel can set his tigers on people in the Saviors, but the tigers will know not to attack anybody that isn't in the Saviors. I'm calling bullshit on that.
Yeah, like there's a scene later on this season where it attacks him at Alexandria, and it's like, you know what? If you want to spin, it knows the people at the kingdom. That's one thing. It doesn't know the people at Alexandria. So fucking reel it in.
But here, we're not here to talk shit about the rest of the season. We're here to talk shit about this episode. Anything else worth covering?
Morgan's introduced to Benjamin and Henry. This is. You know what? See, because we've watched so much of Fear and so much more of Morgan, I'm done. I don't care.
I think I think the worst thing we could have done heading into All Out War in season. Honestly, I don't think we'd be enjoying it, and I think we'd be saying it's one of the worst parts of the show. But I don't think we'd be hating on Morgan the level we're hating on him if we didn't just watch season 4 and season 5 of Fear.
No, absolutely not.
See, people that tell you, the correct way to watch The Walking Dead is this and that. I think if you want to...
They say it's Fear 1 to 3, The Walking Dead 1 to 8, and then back to Fear 4 to 11 or something.
Yeah, I think that actually makes a bit of sense. I think if you do it that way, you might enjoy the Morgan character. See if you watch...
Yeah, but there's no chance you survive and see seasons 9, 10, 11 of The Walking Dead. You're fucking checked out by then.
No, 100%. 100%. But I think if you watch Fear first, you're gonna fucking hate Morgan.
Yeah, I just can't stand the guy. I know nothing can happen to him. I mean, that's what makes it even worse.
Because at least in the original show, he was good in the premiere, and he was alright in the appearance he had in season 3. So, he's bought you a bit of leeway. But if you're going into this after seeing him in Fear, you're thinking, I hate this guy. He must... Honestly, man, Morgan Jones must be one of, if not the worst major main character on TV history. I'm thinking of bad main characters.
That's had like major parts to play across 2 shows.
He is he is the main character on Fear.
Yep.
Therefore, I'm counting him as a main character.
And he's one of the first characters we've seen in this show.
He's a main character.
Yep.
He sucks.
Oh fuck, aye.
He's awful. Nobody in the kingdom interests me. I mean, out of them all, Richard's probably my favourite. Jerry's just a fucking idiot, a loser.
Oh,
a guy I can't take him serious.
I'm pretty sure he survives the whole show.
Does he not marry Rosita or something? That's you. No, it's not you.
They probably all have a go at Rosita. I don't know.
That's it. Look, you know how The Walking Dead is woke. Rosita ends up sleeping, I think, with Jerry and Eugene and Gabriel. All these fucking loser men.
Aye.
Someone like Rosita would not be with these people. She'd be with the Abrahams and the Shanes of the world.
Yeah.
The fucking bad boys that are physical and can take care of themselves and have masculine attributes. Rosita and Eugene would never be a thing. It's not possible.
No.
It's, you know,
Self-help.
it's fucking not.
No, it's
It
not.
just wouldn't happen.
Anyway, right, let's talk
Even
about...
if Eugene had a shitload of money, money doesn't mean anything in this universe.
He's got a shit ton of
No,
knowledge.
you know
like.
what though? We could talk about this episode, the ins and outs, but it actually really fucking bothered me. It was a shite episode. Honestly, this is hands down, easily without a shadow of a doubt, in the top 10 worst Walking Dead episodes up to this point, and it's towards the top of that top 10. I'm trying to think of worse episodes.
No,
people talk about Still. I prefer Still over this.
Still's an alright episode.
People hate on that because it features people. Fact is, people hate on Still because it only focuses on two characters, and one of them's Beth.
And no one thing...
And that's
See another thing though. At the time, right? At the time, The Walking Dead was still for me considered great. And I think when you factor that in...
Yo, I would argue that Still is probably the worst episode when it airs.
Yep.
I think there's a case.
And I think that's the problem.
I think there's a case when Still airs. At that point, it could be the worst episode. But I think by the time we finish season 5 and certainly season 6, there's multiple episodes worse than it.
Yep. And I think that's what people are forgetting. So, I mean, to wrap this up, Ezekiel catches Carol. She's like, "Oh, you're a joke." He then drops his king voice and turns on his normal voice and basically explains that he used to work at the circus or something. And Shiva, he's a fucking clown, alright. Shiva had a leg injury. He took her in, and then he turned out to be a zookeeper, and he looked after her. And then she's like, "Oh well, that's good." And he's like, "You can go, but not go." So essentially, what they've done is she's leaving the kingdom, but at the same time,
She's welcome back.
yeah, but she's also got a house right outside the kingdom, just down the road. So it's like, what are we fucking doing here?
She's not part of the kingdom, but she lives literally on the outskirts of the kingdom.
Yeah.
And yeah, so King Ezekiel, my ass.
He turned around and said, though, "I'll have one of my people escort you to your new house."
And it's fucking Morgan.
What?
Honestly, right? Morgan's just there, so I don't know why King Ezekiel is. It's just crazy how high Morgan has risen up the ranks. I mean, what happened to like gaining and earning trust? And also, like, do you not think, like, see when he says, "I'll get one of my people to escort you to your new house," is that not a chance to give a new character like 2-3 minutes of screen time?
Yep.
Give him a bit of dialogue with Carol. Instead, we got Morgan walking Carol to her house, and it was the same old shitey conversations. Yo, didn't Morgan and Carol pretty much have... Weren't they like the two lodging heads with each other in season 6? Oh, kill everybody, kill nobody.
I know.
And we're in season 7, and it's still the same conversations.
Well, and Carol just forgot about all this stuff, though.
Two of the most uninteresting characters in this show.
And then pretty much Ezekiel rocks up with his tiger on a lead to the front door and offers her a pomegranate. Now, I thought it was an apple, doesn't really matter, but it's like, this guy rocks up to the front door like he's walking a dog. Mate, you're walking a 500-pound fucking killing machine.
Yeah, I'm just not convinced, man. I don't care how domesticated this tiger is. It's just, here, you do get tigers that are comfortable and okay around zookeepers, but see whenever you see those videos, it's the zookeeper around the tiger only. You don't see the zookeeper and 10 other people.
Aye, and also this is zombie apocalypse, folks. I'm sure he had to walk past a few walkers to get here.
There's the tiger just fucking, "Here, boy," you know, like, I mean... just get a wee treat and the fucking tiger comes back.
Anyway, this episode wasn't a treat. It was shite. Anyway.
What definitely, I mean, I can't say for a fact that it's the worst episode that we've had up to this point, but it's one of them.
It is. I'm going to get a 2 out of 10. I thought it was utter wank. And you know what? I don't think it'll be the worst episode of this season. Because you know what's coming up? Oceanside, baby. And that is probably going to get a 0. So yeah, 2 out of 10.
Yeah, it was shite, not going to lie. I'm going to get... I'm trying not to factor in the disappointment of not... I'm going to give it a 4.
4?
Aye. I'm trying not to factor in the disappointment of not seeing the aftermath of the premiere.
I know, but that's their fault. You have to factor that in for me because they structure the episodes. You know what I mean?
Like, I'm being generous, right? It's between a 3 or a 4. You gave it a 2. So if I give it a 4... It levels it at 3, so that's my reasoning behind it.
Alright, guys, 3 out of 10. Till then, pooch.